Hey y'all, we are back with week 2 of remote learning. Now, I just want to let you know this has been hard, but I'm proud to see those of you who are like engaging and like that you're trying to put one foot in front of the other every day. So here we are with week 2. We are closing up China, y'all, and we are going to move on to Africa. So this is the last lesson about China. So we really want you to engage with this, but also get excited because these African narratives, y'all, are really, really powerful. So let's look at the objective for today. Students will be able to contextualize the role of Deng Xiaoping and assess mastery on Unit 6 content. So let's break this down. Contextualize. Remember, contextualize is being able to put an event in conversation with everything around it in history. So if we're talking about decolonization in China, again, we're thinking about how does World War II impact this? How does Japanese imperialism impact this? And also thinking forward to the future. How does China's decolonial movement play a bigger role in the Cold War? What's happening in the midst of the Cold War? How can China kind of change the game? And thinking about the future, what future events that we're going to learn about should we keep in mind as China um, has this growth as an independent nation. Then we're going to look at the role of Deng Xiaoping. Now say that slowly with me. Deng Jiao Diao Ping.
Diao Ping. Got it, Mr. White.
That was a cameo from Miss Barker if you heard her. And assess the mastery of Unit 6 content. So we're also going to be taking a multiple choice check for understanding, y'all. It will be graded, but it is going to be on everything we learned about China. So you can go back and review all the lessons from Wednesday to Friday, and you can use that to help you on this multiple choice check for understanding. Again, it will be graded. Now, looking at the agenda, we're going to do a warm up with a political cartoon. You're going to look at the people, you're going to look at the actions, you're going to look at the message. 2, you're going to go to a mini lesson with learning about who Deng Xiaoping is and the Tiananmen Square incident and massacre. You're going to learn about that as well. 3, you'll have a source pack evidence incorporation. So you're going to go into your source pack. We're going to read something out of your source pack, and you will be doing a response writing to that. But the graded assignment for this lesson will be your multiple choice check for understanding. And then we're going to close out and think about where we're moving forward to as we get into Africa. Let's get started. So, first, we have this political cartoon. If you're on page 14 in your source pack, you can see a political cartoon. Now, take a moment, look at it. What are the things you see? Are there images? Are there people? Are there words? Take note of all of this. Take some time to take that down right now. Wonder, what do you see? All right, go to what you think. Now, please feel free to pause. When I say take some time and write it down, if you need more time than this video is giving you, pause it. Now let's think about what does it make us think? What do these words, what do these images give us? I see a man holding up a sign. It says free markets, not people. I see the guy has a word on his shoulder. It says DENG. I think that might be relevant to the objective that we just looked at earlier. Let's go look at that objective again and see if that has any relevance. Let's think about what free markets mean. Let's think about what is free. How can a market be free, and how could a person not be free? What type of stuff does that make you think of? And then analysis. What do you think this cartoonist? What do you think this artist was trying to communicate when we're making this cartoon? What do you think their message that they wanted the public to receive was? Pause the video right here. Write down your thoughts under what you see, what you think, and what you believe the analysis or the message is, and press play when you're done. All right, y'all. Again, this is the overall unit about, or the overall lesson about Deng Xiaoping and the Tiananmen Square massacre. We're going to still lean on these themes of like liberation and challenging authority because we can see that the governments are trying to keep a lot of control so that they can liberate their people through what they believe are necessities, like communism. But you also can see that the people want more expression, and we're going to see how that comes about in the Tiananmen Square massacre. Now, we already talked about the context, the rise of Mao Zedong. Mao brought communism to China. He thought that it would be liberating for the working peasant class of Chinese people to have all the necessities they have of life. But he also believed that this had to happen under one party rule, and this had to happen under one vision without any disagreement. So there was strong suppression of voice under Mao's China. Now, Mao is going to die in 1976. And again, remember, Mao was like treated like a god in this society. His images are everywhere. It still has that remnants in China today. So they preserve Mao's body in this glass casket where he can still be visited. After Mao passes, his successor is Deng Xiaoping. Now, Deng wants to keep the same authoritarian social rules that Mao had, but he wants to open up the economy a little bit more and allow for private business and private enterprise to happen. So that takes us back to our right now, which said free markets, not people. Now, one example behind his rationale of opening up business to free markets is allowing students to study abroad from China. And here's a quote. He says, "When our thousands of Chinese students abroad return home, you will see how China will transform itself." So we have this policy of go out and get the information on the best practices, if you will, of other countries, and let's go change what's going on in China. And one of those things was to allow for private business and enterprise. Now, one example of how he was not showing freedom or liberation to the people was the Tiananmen Square incident. Now, the Tiananmen Square incident is a student uprising that took place, and Deng's government took a very strong authoritarian response and put the military in the streets. Now, go ahead and watch these videos, but I want us to just look at this video together. I want you to ask yourself, how fed up would you have to be to put yourself in front of a tank like this person? Go click the actual video and watch if you want to see the rest. Now, we are going to move on to the source pack reading portion of this lesson. Now, you will be on page 15 of your source pack, and you're going to read about the Tiananmen Square incident. You're going to have some text about it. There's also another video resource if you want to see it and go into the slides and watch those videos. Now, you're going to be answering these 3 questions, and you will be graded, again, not on this task. You will be graded on the multiple choice assessment that comes after this. But reading this text and answering these questions will get you the information you need in order to take that multiple choice CFU.